Today we're diving deep into the shadowy world of Mark Carney, a man with a web of secrets and controversies. Buckle up, dear viewers, because we're about to unravel a tale of power, politics, and perhaps, just perhaps, a healthy dose of good, old-fashioned scandal. Mark Carney's career is less of a straight line and more of a tangled knot of questionable decisions and eyebrow-raising associations. Whispers of impropriety have followed him from his time at Goldman Sachs to his tenure as Governor of the Bank of England. And wouldn't you know it, our friend Mark is currently facing some serious heat across the pond. The charges remain shrouded in legalese, but one thing's for sure, you don't end up in the crosshairs of the American justice system for selling Girl Scout cookies. Carney waltzed into the Bank of England promising stability and prosperity. But what did the Brits get? Austerity measures and an economy that resembled a three-legged donkey trying to win the Grand National. Now, let's talk about Brookfield, shall we? This shadowy investment firm seems to be about as transparent as a brick wall. What's he hiding, you ask? Well, that's the million-dollar question. Or should I say the $1.1 billion question? It seems that Brookfield is under investigation for a loan to Donald Trump's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, another conflict of interest during these turbulent tariff times. Here's a fun fact for you. Mark Carney loves pipelines. This supposed environmental champion seems perfectly content to rake in profits from pipelines crisscrossing the globe while simultaneously clutching his pearls at the mere mention of Canadian energy projects. Apparently, it's okay to make billions from pipelines around the world while closing down Canadian pipelines and frowning on our resources. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, shall we? Mark Carney loves to paint himself as an outsider, a lone wolf fighting against the corrupt establishment. But let's be honest, folks, this is a man who's more comfortable in a room full of CEOs than he is at a pub quiz with regular folks. Speaking of connections, let's talk about our favorite Canadian Prime Minister, shall we? Justin Trudeau and Mark Carney go way back. Carney has been whispering in Trudeau's ear for years, shaping Canadian financial policies from the shadows. Now let's talk about something truly terrifying, the Emergencies Act. This draconian piece of legislation was invoked in Canada, ostensibly to deal with some bouncy castles and a few truckers honking their horns. Is it a coincidence that the act gave the government unprecedented powers to freeze bank accounts? Carney has already announced that he plans on invoking the Emergencies Act again to deal with the oil industry. Why would he even need to do that? There has to be an alternative motive. You know what they say? The only certainties in life are death taxes, and Mark Carney finding a new way to make you pay more for both. Who do you think will end up footing the bill for that little switcheroo? That's right, folks. It's the little guy, as always. Now, let's talk about Pierre Poilievre, shall we? The man who dares to challenge the status quo. Carney seems to have taken a shine to some of Poilievre's ideas, particularly those pesky ones about fiscal responsibility and reining in government spending. He's already stolen Poilievre's idea to cut the carbon tax, although Carney plans on making it a shadow carbon tax on industries. So, not only will we not see how much, but the quarterly kickback checks for Canadians will stop as well. Now, let's talk about something truly sinister. The World Economic Forum, otherwise known as the WEF, and guess who's a card-carrying member of this exclusive club? That's right, it's our old pal Mark, rubbing shoulders with billionaires and world leaders. Now, you might be thinking, so what if Carney's a member of the WEF? It's not like he's going to single-handedly implement their nefarious agenda, right? Well, think again, folks. Carney has been remarkably open about his desire to reshape the global financial system in the WEF's image. It seems the more we dig, the deeper Carney's corruption shows. A review of corporate Brookfield, the influential $900 billion Canadian investment fund from which Liberal Prime Minister Mark Carney stepped away from to replace Justin Trudeau as Canada's leader. Dollars in politically sensitive investments with Chinese state-linked real estate and energy companies, along with a substantial offshore banking presence. One of its major real estate ventures, a 700 into high-end Shanghai commercial property in 2013, involved a Hong Kong tycoon affiliated with the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference, CPPCEC, which the United Front entity of Beijing. Remember Brookfield, that oh-so-transparent investment firm we talked about earlier? Well, it turns out they've recently relocated their headquarters from Toronto to New York. It seems our boy Mark isn't too keen on contributing to the country he so desperately wants to lead. He has lied about the fact that he was sitting on the board of Brookfield when the decision was made to move to the United States. How can he be trusted? As we have seen in the past few elections, the so-called polls get it wrong. I believe they are as corrupt as some of the politicians that are running, and the bought and paid-for media are behind it as well. The CBC and other Canadian news media want a Liberal government because they won't survive without the big handout of hush money. Ignore the polls and you will see how much they are wrong on election day. So there you have it, folks. Mark Carney, the man of mystery, the master of finance, well, you get the picture. Is he a financial visionary or a wolf in sheep's clothing? A champion of the people or a puppet of the global elite? We'll leave it up to you to decide. Don't forget to follow, like, share, comment, and subscribe for a chance to win upcoming prizes. Until next time, stay safe.